Recording, and we will be going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
Good morning, Owasso. This is Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. I think the vast majority of people consume media the way that we do anymore, or like I said, even if you don't, I think this is the vast majority of way of how people consume media. Like they just kind of scroll through their phone, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that, and that's how they get their news. So this is just us again sharing our opinions on what's going on. So if you don't know, the last couple of shooters that we've had they've all been trans or some form of LGBTQ. So if we have a shooting epidemic, there is a great overrepresentation of the LGBTQ trans community represented in the shooters that have come up. So what is your argument? That bullying is the reason? Or a mental health is the reason? Like what is the justification for why the trans people are so overrepresented? I thought the trans people were the ones who were victimized, not the ones doing the victimization.
Yeah. As we've seen, like the right has always said that it's not a
Gun
problem, it's a mental health issue. And as we can see, with the last 7 of the major school shootings being either some form of LGBTQIA, whatever the heck it is today, all the alphabet mafia, they've either been non-binary, trans, or gay. And something about that should be considered fuzzy. So either there is a more likely chance for someone in the LGBTQ community to have mental health issues, or they're more likely to be prone to violence against other people.
Or both.
So,
So again, it's what we talked about on Friday. These people will never be able to achieve the level of happiness they want. It's impossible.
Yeah.
You cannot be what you want to be in this world if you were born a man and you want to be a woman. Like certain people in your social groups, like the trans and gay community might accept you or tolerate you for what you are, but the rest of the world will not perceive you as such. Unless you're just the prettiest person in the world. Like, I mean, I know they're writing articles now. I mean, you might even try to find them. It's like why alpha male is dating a trans woman, which obviously is a dude. But, unless you're just super attractive, people are never going to forgive you for that. Like, they're never going to treat you as such. Unless you just look exactly like a chick. And again, pursuing the trans ideology or pursuing the trans lifestyle, it's never going to give you happiness because you're never actually going to be the thing you want to be. It's like, I'm not telling you this to hurt your feelings. I'm telling you this because it's true. If you as a person who, like, if you're a guy that wants to identify as a girl and you go into a group of dudes, they're not going to be like, wow, or they're not going to say, first of all, they're not going to call you a she. And secondly, they're not going to be like, wow, she's really hot. You're never going to be that to them. Ever.
Yeah, it goes back to eventually if you want to start a family, what's the point of this? And 2, it brings some back to the saying. Do you conform to society or the world, or does society or the world conform to you? And I would have to, you can argue that it's a little bit of give and take on both ends, but the world is usually going to win out against you every time.
Yeah.
Or society.
Yeah. And again, I mean, you shouldn't have to conform to society. Our philosophy, if you're a Christian, you conform to the will of the Lord, and then, you don't worry about the worldly problems. But the problem is we're all here existing in this world, and you have so many people giving you conflicting goals and life missions, and everyone telling you to pursue your own self-interest instead of pursuing the greater good. But yeah, it's very, very bad. I mean, there's a reason this is happening. It's because these people will never find happiness because they're pursuing happiness here. They're pursuing temporary pleasure and happiness here on Earth when, again, happiness is fleeting. You can only be content for so long.
Yeah.
Next, you'll want to be recognized. Like, again, it's narcissism, this trans ideology. Like, I want to be recognized as a woman. Not only do I personally want to be recognized as a woman, I want everyone to think that I am a beautiful woman, and I want to be showered with praise 24 hours a day. I want to be like the runway models. I mean, that's what all this, like the overweight models thing is about. Going, look, I'm pretty in the face. I just don't have the traditional body. It's like, you
Yeah.
okay? But there's a reason the vast majority of men we view, I mean, the vast majority of people review, like, there's a reason you want that body. Nobody wants, again, what's the comments like going, if everyone thinks Lizzo's so hot, how come whenever you say, wow, you look just like Lizzo, women get upset about it?
That's 100% true.
It's like, I mean, I can guarantee you, if I told the vast majority of trans people, wow, you look just like Caitlyn Jenner, they would not be happy about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, everybody's creating their own arbitrary beauty standards. It's like what's so crazy about it's like why the Whatever podcast is so popular. Because all these girls go, well, I don't compete. It's like whether or not you choose to compete or not compete is irrelevant to you. You are competing in the market whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
It's like I don't put myself in such like you can put yourself in positions where you can find it, like pursue the girl or guy you like and put yourself in a position where you're the one in the room with them and try to isolate them like a predator going after their prey. But unless you get that opportunity or you're able to create that opportunity, you're never gonna get it.
Yes.
And you're always competing in the marketplace, the sexual marketplace, the job marketplace, the value creation marketplace.
Yep. But getting back to this
Yeah.
real quick, this meme, Transanity is what the meme says.
Mhm.
Says Colorado Springs shooter identified as non-binary. Denver school shooter identified as trans. I don't know how to say this one, but the Ardeen shooter identified as trans. The Nashville shooter identified as trans.
Yep.
And the Uvalde shooter identified as trans. And then now this one, he is not identified as trans, but he is from what I've seen and gathered from what little information is being spread now, because the most current and active information
Came out 2 days ago.
came out 2 days ago from any major news organization. So
And
no major news organization is talking about this. So everything else is coming from what I hate is sources on social media
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
That's why we told you whenever that guy posted that thing that the kid was trans, we said take this with a grain of salt because this is just on Instagram. However, I'm going to say this. Remember this. The media's silence says way more about the truth of a situation than what they actually say.
100%.
So if this kid was a straight white male and that was it, that's all they'd be touting right now. This is indicative of white males. This is indicative of of white America and straight men.
That's the point. Is it was hot for those first 2 days because it was everyone assumed was a straight white male, and then we find out that his father in a testimony says that people called him gay on a regular basis, and then it turns out from what I've been seeing now from interviews with people that actually knew him that he did identify as gay and that he did identify with being a trans ally, which is why like his hair was all grown out long. He said he was trying supposedly he was trying to look more feminine.
There you go. So these are interviews we've seen with kids that are classmates. So again, his dad might not have known, or like again, he's a single dad. Mom's in jail. He's not around very much. He's working a full-time job trying to provide for his family, then teach his kid how to hunt. I mean, that's probably the only masculine thing the kid does with his dad. So he's just trying to fit in. He just switched schools. That school he's at, he's not been at that school very long.
No, he just switched out because he was having issues at
His previous school. So everybody at this new school was already calling him gay. And again, is that an insult? And I mean, I thought being gay is cool now. Is it an insult to be called gay now? Remember, I understand that getting picked on like that is not good. It's not fun. It's not right. However, when you come in and you trout these ideologies and you want to be a part of it, like, I mean, technically when they're calling him that, it's like they're not far off from the truth, and that's why it hurts. So I'm not making excuses for the kids saying mean stuff to him, but there's a reason his mental state is not all there. He had a rough family life. And again, they're already making excuses for him. Like they're going, he had a rough family life. It's like, why? Why are we already making excuses for him? It's like, because they want to play him off as sympathetic because of what they have yet to reveal.
Yes, 100%. And we come to this next one. Our next meme here is, if genitals don't define gender, how does removing them affirm it? And that is 100% true, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, heck, what do I know, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's so true. Again, but yeah, I mean, that's very true. That whole statement. Just again, you can lop off whatever body part you want. At the end of the day, it's not going to make you happy. It's a very temporary solution. It's like getting a haircut. It's like, oh, it's like if a girl cuts her hair off. I think I'm going to look really good like this. And all of a sudden, it's like you feel that post-haircut regret. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Post-purchase regret on anything you've ever bought that was a little too expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I really need this?
Yeah.
Why?
So it's just the sad state of affairs. They're, again, these trans people, they're pursuing a dream that will never actually become a reality. You can never truly feel like a, like it's like that song, "Feel Like a Woman." It's like, yeah, you can only imagine what that feels like. You'll never actually feel what it feels like to be a woman. Just like a woman who's trying to be a man, or like when we did that video the other day of that chick who went undercover as a man, self-made man. You remember that?
Yeah, 100%.
She hated life. Being a man was terrible. It crushed her mental health.
Yeah, she thought that living as a man, she would get like all this respect and stuff like that. But no, this is the problem: is like women don't understand. It's like guys like women about no matter what, unless a woman just does something to completely piss them off and like they don't want to deal with them anymore. But women hold a place of respect in society. Men have to earn a place of respect in society.
Men earn their seat at the table. Women are just welcome to the table. Like, oh yeah, please, please, please.
Yeah.
So I think what was it that it might have been Homath that put this together, but it talks about the difference between men and women. So men, so it talks about how depending on your attractiveness or what kind of a wealthy family you're born into, you're born somewhere on the mountain. You're not at the top, but you're born somewhere on the mountain. But chicks are born very close to the top. And the more attractive you are as a woman, the closer you are to the top.
Yes.
However, guys can be at the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah.
Now, not every single guy. Some guys are born somewhere on the mountain. But like I said, it doesn't matter how rich or wealthy a guy is born. It will put him closer to the top, but he's not near the top. Mm-hmm. He has to achieve on his own merit to get to the top. Women can never get to the top, ever. Women can only be close to the top. And only a very small number of guys will ever make it to the top of the mountain. Guys like Elon Musk, famous actors, guys who are self-made billionaires, they make it to the top. Men who are born into wealth don't get to the top. So it's an example of how the cruelty of reality of life. And the whole point of what women try to do is they try to stay where they're at on the mountain. Women don't want to drop down. Like if they're anchored near the top, they don't want to drop lower. But the older women get, the more they start to slide down. The younger guys they're all climbing on top of each other at the bottom of the mountain trying to get to the top. Or just try to get their foot in a grip to get it to the top, but somebody's underneath them dragging them, pulling them down. Mm-hmm. And that's a good metaphor for where these trans people are. It's like these trans women know that if they identify as a chick, maybe they'll be able to get more respect in society. Again, it's a mad dash, the mad dash of life. That's why I really like that mountain meme. And actually is one of the best visual representations of how the world and society and how life treats men and women.
Yep. All right. Well, if you want to go on to this one, like here is what we talked about this before is this video, this kind of viral video of people saying, and this guy cleverly asked first, he goes, "Do you think that kids should be able to get tattoos?" Mm-hmm. And they're all like, "No, never. That's permanent." And then then he immediately asked, "Should they be able to get gender affirming surgery?" And they immediately
go, "Yes."
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's a brain disease. It's brain rot. Like this whole trans ideology. Watch this. It's crazy.
A 12-year-old should be able to get a tattoo.
I'm gonna say no.
Probably not.
No. It's probably too young to make decisions.
It's a pretty permanent decision. They can't make the decision for themselves yet. It's something permanent on their body.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to puberty blockers?
Yes.
Yes.
And I understand how that sounds really hypocritical.
Yes, it's a permanent change on their body, but I think that at that point in their life, they probably know who they are, who they want to be.
And you think so at 12 years old?
Yes.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to puberty blockers?
Yes, because that's not a permanent decision.
I think there's plenty of time to make those decisions later on once they've had a chance to decide exactly what they want their identity to be.
I think that maybe there should be more waiting, but I don't want to like put down trans ideas.
If they could make an informed decision, yeah.
And you think a 12-year-old can make an informed decision?
I don't know, I guess it depends on the 12-year-old.
Be like a really mature 12-year-old.
Right, yeah.
Because some children you can just tell, like, when that decision is legit with them.
Okay. So that's shocking. I mean, like, again, I've said this a million times, but I mean, I'm just copying Michael Malice when I say this, but I go, there is no altar that liberal white women will not sacrifice children to.
Yeah, to be up in the cool hip culture, like my kid's trans.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, public opinion is what matters most to the vast majority of people. Like, I have to be accepted, like, it's particularly chicks. Like, it's pervasive with chicks because chicks have to be accepted by society. You'll never find, like, nobody wants to become the crazy cat lady, but guys will understand that, yeah, we're all one bad relationship away from moving out in the woods and never interacting with society again. That's how men are.
Yeah.
Women, that's their worst nightmare. Guys, it's like, well, worst case scenario, I just move in the woods, get a dog, get a cabin, and live on the land. That's a nightmare for women, but it is a sad reality for a lot of guys. It's just like, yeah, I mean, and it's not even sad. Some guys be like, yeah, no, that's kind of like my end goal. Like, I get that that's coming at some point.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, if we even want to go into the more, like, nitty-gritty of it, is if you want to look at, let's take the lion example. When another pride of lions comes in, and, you know, there's the alpha lion, or what are you going to call it, the pride king lion. Another group of lion comes, okay, we're going to take over this pride. They kill the lion. They kill the male lions, all of them. Females, they leave alone.
Yeah.
And that's the same way in society. That's how every conquering nation's been in, too.
Yeah.
I mean, women get to live. Guys are, your bloodline is gone.
It's a evolutionary thing for women. So it's an evolutionary, what's the word? Survival mechanism for women. So there's a reason, like, I mean, the mouthy women, like the feminists and stuff, they didn't live. The compliant, quiet women, whenever a tribe came in and conquered them, the compliant, quiet women got to live and got to reproduce. The loud, mouthy ones disappeared with the men. And I say disappeared. You know exactly what I mean by they disappeared. That means their line, their genealogy ended. So, yeah, that's just the way of the world.
Yeah. And then we're also talking about we're talking about all these trans issues. Here is a UK teacher being arrested because he refused to accept
The trans ideology.
Trans ideology.
Yeah, the UK is terrifying to place to live right now because no matter what you do, you can be arrested for hate speech, and anything can be perceived as hate speech. Anything. Like, I mean, they have more people tracking people for hateful posts online than they are actually stopping the Islamic grooming gangs and solving actual crimes. Like, it's easier to track Facebook posts and Instagram posts and Twitter posts than it is to actually go out in the world and actually try to solve a murder or stop crime. It's easier to do that because, like I said, we got the paper trail with Twitter.
Yep. I'll go ahead and play this real quick.
Not accepting transgenderism. Nor should I. And I'm not going to turn my back in my duty to my students. Well, I'm not going to turn back in my duty. No, you don't have a duty to do what's wrong. No, you're not. And to bring me before the court. To bring me before the court. Yes. No, to bring me before the court. This is a disgrace. Children are being taught to tell a young boy.
Surgery.
Yes. Surgery. Mutilation. Yes. Mutilation. 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 An absolute disgrace. You're telling a boy that he's gender neutral. Yeah, that he has to take chemicals. That he has to take chemicals. That he has to take chemicals. Be heavy-handed. No, that he has to take chemicals. Not going to be heavy-handed. He has broken
Shame upon you. Shame upon you, Garvey. Shame upon you. You've no right to do what you're doing. This is an innocent teacher.
Those police officers should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. Like, is that why you joined the police force, to arrest people for not agreeing with new crazy religions popping up? And I say that's what this transgender ideology is. It is a religion. You cannot criticize the new religion. You cannot criticize the cult, lest you be punished. So it's terrifying. It's truly terrifying. I don't know. It's scary stuff. But yeah, they're wasting stuff on that. So praise the trans people, praise the people for coming out, praise these people for having the courage to come out and live a new way. But curse the people who are saying, no, I don't think this is a good thing for them as individuals or society as a whole. Sad state of affairs. And again, you're going to see more occurrences like what we've seen here with this last school show. I said, we're going to assume that since we haven't heard much about this new kid, this Colt Gray kid, that I'm just going to go out on an assumption and say, yeah, I think he's probably trans or gay. And again, what he did was on behest of this radical ideology that he's been bought into.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why we have not seen or heard anything else about this besides like the left's still occasional, this is why we need to ban guns. Like, there's been no other information out. If this kid identified as straight, they would be going to town right now still. Like, there's been no new news information, like mainstream news information, since 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Like, the left will stay on this stuff for like in the next week at least. If it's before the trans ideology thing became a thing now, they would be on this for like, it'd be like a month of, we need to get rid of guns. And now it's just kind of like,
it's silent. It's silent. Media silent. Media blackout on this whole thing. So that's the truth. This is the truth of what is happening in the world right now. And it's a sad state of affairs. And again, these kids are chasing a dream that will never, ever come true.
Yeah.
Said unless you can give birth to a child, you're not a woman. And again, women will be like, what about women who can't get pregnant? Okay, if you have the capability, like you had the potential at some point in your life, you're a woman. Same goes for guys. If you don't have the proper genitalia when you are born, then you're really not that. And you're pursuing vanity here on earth. A vain dream that will never, ever come true. And I remember talking to doctors in college being like, I'm on the cutting edge of this transgender stuff. And it's really cool, the medical. And I'm just like, why? Why is it cool? Why is it a good thing? And they said, this is why science for science sake is not good. It's like, well, just because we can do it doesn't mean we should.
yes, science doesn't ask the morality question. Science only asks, can it be done, not should it be done.
Yes.
There's a reason why philosophy is still a thing.
Yeah. So the sad state of affairs that we live in currently, and stuff like this is going to keep happening if we don't get this sorted out quick. So that's about all we've got for you today. I know we ran a little longer than intended, but we just wanted to speak what we think is the truth, and go over the news in a hopefully rational and coherent way. That way, we're not crazy. Let us know if you think we're crazy. We might be, for all we know. But yeah, let us know in the comments. That's about all I've got for you today. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you can stay in the loop. We are signing off. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.